This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Mintz.
They had me tied to a chair in the hangar behind the Boeing business jets with a gun to my head. I had no choice. I had to. Even though I swore to myself that I never would. Ever. Who am I kidding? I'm not sure I even could, or if it was really me that was responsible. Okay, I'll tell you, but only you, and you have to swear to me that you'll keep it just between the two of us. I used to tell people, and it cost me friendships and a great deal of respect. Why do you think I've been a baggage handler for the last 28 years? Do I look like someone with ambition to you? Hell no. I just want to do my job, get a pat on the back, and be on my merry way with a bottle of Jack and my online card games. That's all I need. There's a reason I live like this. Let me explain. I'm 13 years old, my first year of high school. There was this phone that kids could use to call their parents in case of an emergency. You know, before the internet days, before smartphones, we had to pick up a landline and ring our parents if we needed something. So for some reason, me being brand new to high school, they just let us use this phone whenever we needed to. Back in primary school, the office ladies made the calls for you. If you were sick, soiled yourself, vomited on someone's lunch, whatever, they made the call, not you. So this was a novelty for me, you could say. Now let me set the scene. My mother and I lived alone in a one-bedroom apartment. I didn't have my own bed until year 11. I shared with her. To say that if I ever got into trouble, there would be a reckoning no boy should ever want is an understatement. She would tear me limb from limb if I didn't bow my head when another woman passed us in the street. She was a very prim and proper woman, God rest her soul. So, you've also got to imagine that I was in dire need of making friends at my new high school. The pressure was on, and for a 5'0" kid who was hopeless at reading, writing, maths, and couldn't kick a football to save his life, my only outlet for attracting attention from the right crowd was to make fun of people. Enter the phone. I picked up the receiver every lunchtime and crank called anyone. I'd dial numbers at random and yell gibberish down the line. I got numbers from lost pet posters and told owners I'd seen their animals flattened under a U-Haul truck that morning. I even called a funeral home asking if A-Liv was available to speak. After a couple of months, I'd gathered a modest crowd of kids who came to watch me perform. But one of the numbers we called, we must have rung it more than once, made a complaint. The police came knocking on the school grounds about 6 months into my little endeavor. That afternoon, I was hauled before the principal and deputy. They screamed their heads off at me. That was nothing compared to what my mother would do if she found out. I needed them not to tell her. I was sweating bullets. They knew it. They could smell the fear on me. They sat me down in front of this huge wooden desk, backed by a display of sporting memorabilia from the school's glory days, and gave me a tongue lashing the likes of which I don't think any student at Somervale High had ever received. "Well, what have you got to say for yourself?" Principal Andrews yelled. I couldn't speak. I just gritted my teeth and prayed they'd forget everything. "Gutless. Just as I thought," he sneered. He picked up the phone on his desk and read from a slip of paper my mother's daytime number. I twisted my nose, clenched my jaw, and focused. I looked at him. No, through him. I zeroed in. I could feel his pulse. I went further. I was inside his chest cavity, in his arteries. I could see them pulsing. I was staring at his beating heart. How was I doing this? Was I so terrified I was hallucinating? "Hello, Mrs. Palmieri?" I heard him say. Concentration broken. I was being pulled back into myself. My chance was slipping. My days would be numbered. I looked at his heart once more. I focused, and I made it beat its last. I made it stop with my eyes. A rush, and I was back in my own head. I watched him on the phone, but then his eyes rolled back. He collapsed onto the floor. "Jesus, Nathaniel," the deputy yelled, and I was free. No follow-up, no detention. The next day was a big school memorial, a week of celebrations. A month later, they renamed the hall after him. And my crank calls? Nothing. It was as if they had never happened. I told Steve Turner at a sleepover the next year. They called me TeleKevin for the rest of the term. Everyone, seniors, juniors. But I was already scared of what I could do. Sure, it got me out of trouble with my mother, but it wasn't natural. No one should be able to look into someone's chest and stop their heart. I became a recluse. I drank, I dropped out of school in year 10, worked at the airport. Mom died a year or two after that. I had nothing to do with it. I worked. I tried to forget. I didn't want to be put in a position where I'd be tempted to do it again. So when those bikers started robbing the hangar and tied me up with a gun to my head, what was I supposed to do? I saw the leader. He held the gun, ski mask on. The others ransacked while he watched me, my hands bound with zip ties. It had been over 20 years, but I looked at his chest. I went through the ribs, the lungs, past the arteries, and there it was, his heart, beating 1,000 miles a minute. He was as nervous as I was, and then I made it stop. I retreated back to myself and watched him drop to the floor just like the principal. I still had it. I wasn't dreaming. I was responsible back then. Confirmed. I sat there waiting for the others to notice. They would turn on me. I'd have to do the same to them. I wondered how fast I could pull it off. All those years this ability was buried, suppressed. Now, time to find my true potential. Anyway, you know the rest. I'm here now. Aren't I? Like I said, don't tell anyone, would you?
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.